Servitor telepathy, Servepaty. As a person becomes more savvy about creating the servitors, may want to shorten the process. This methodology is inspired by the technique of the master of Agrippa Trithemius, which he highlighted as a method of communication between members of royalty or intellectually evolved persons. Its name Servepaty is the fusion of its identity with its function, with the intention of serving as a gateway to telepathy between people who combine a symbol or a sigil. This activity is the basis for their existence. This identity has been chosen is provided with the following characteristics. Step 1. Intention and purpose planning. 1. The intelligence of the server is focused exclusively on the transmission of each message between sender and receiver, using a fixed symbol combined by the parties to close the focus of both parts with separate and recyclable roles between the poles. Focus preserved by the intelligence of it is restricted only to the exchange of messages and information. Your interaction with this exclusive purpose will be restricted to the convenience of the parties by a combined mantra along with the symbol or sigil as the key to allow the sending or receiving of the message. The transmission of symbols instead of verbalizations will have a sensitive code differentiated by the odor as a sign that a symbol is transmitted in this personalized medium. It will be given intelligence to solve any communication problem to make it increasingly effective for a growing interaction of it in this sense. Solve problems, find creative solutions and learn to improve communication. 2. It will last the duration of the group for the purpose of communication among members who swear to use it for this purpose exclusively. Just as each member takes an oath before the purpose of this server, new members to use it will also do so. For the moment of the oath onwards, the server will remain close to those who make this host commitment. For its definitive disposal, each person who so chooses breaks his oath, simply leaving the group and never coming back. If the people want to remain in the group, but without communicating through this server still in use, use your personal identification photo in WhatsApp with the black stripe so that no one in the group will disturb this one further. As it is infinite until the moment they erase it, to erase it the last users to the ritual of their funeral in the way chosen by the last users. Of course, they can replace it with another for the same purpose, but that is definitive. 3. Each service will be the feed of the server, hungry for communication, where it swallows in the transmitter and vomits in the receiver the same message, tasting its contents in this interim. Instead of obesity, the server will have to condense its materiality more and more according to its use and experience. In the absence of its use for any reason, the person in disregard of the communication to the group will depend on a prayer that will declare for the divine being of his or her choose that would prefer through this server that will leak prayer out of the group. The servitor will feed on this prayer to recharge your batteries. 4. As its use is the greatest and most abundant source of food, the closure of its exclusive use to the members of the group according to the mantras and sigils chosen, it will cause the development to be for telepathic contact with the group exclusively. Of course, each member can then elaborate other symbols to use with other people in another line of independent telepathy. Just like the telephone networks should not cross, but the symbol and mantra chosen for this group with its members stays only among the practitioners. The characteristic of the same is to materialize, then overgrow, and is proportional to the intimacy that each person of the group will have with the services. Like any other servitor, it is possible that it to deviate from its purpose, especially at the beginning, not doing what is intended, or doing unexpectedly, or not doing enough to what was intended to do. Sometimes it may become angry or stop listening and not have an interest in feeding. To reverse this, the messages will be written in complete silence, forcing it to fast and finished with stealth to command the task server. When presenting the writing to the server, it is flicked with the finger on the paper indicating the message to be transmitted, so that the server transmits the message of its own energy. Generally, this is avoidable, taking a little time to think before creating the server under the condition of always accomplishing the goal under the content of the person issuing. Still, it's a good idea to always have a way to undo the server immediately if you need to. This can be done by destroying the physical object to which the server is connected, reabsorbing the server back into itself in some way, killing the switch that was embedded in the server. When someone stupid tries to kill the server or turn it to act against its users or something like it, this person only cancels the use of the server for themselves. When people are nice, everything is fine. But sometimes it pays to check your server, maybe clean it or have some way to allow it to stay. Similar to the previous point, but in relation to environmental or external influences. If, for example, someone else's server is sent to interact with servitor telepathy, 8 among things that align with the intention of the servitor, you can use a cell phone out of operation, or other type of handset or communication device. Its constant use will make this used medium incorporated to your server to strengthen it and solidify it. Its action occurs to and only in telepathy, in the form of a glow in the consciousness of the receiving person, with the habit of always arriving with the statement, "You received a message from," name of the issuing person. His personality, quick and objective, takes his appreciation of silence to facilitate transmission, so that digestion is completed successfully by expelling the message to complete its digestion. He has contempt for the opposite, much noise, hissing and humming. Step 2. Visualization. No projection of external intention, but statically. To project it externally as part of your consciousness in a static way, you must stop and focus on intention, so you can work even more with the server. The purpose here is to have this intention as a ball of energy, a will, sigil, or some representation outside of you, as a separate thing. It is important that this is static at the moment, so that you let your intention go like a sigil, a magic operation. There are a few ways to do this. Use an oral sigil mantra that represents the intent of telepathy and the servitor. The representation of the intention of telepathy symbolized in pictorial secrecy to be visualized in a cellular, telephone, radio communication PX or any other means of similar purpose as a cocoon to serve for communication. A state of trance, self-hypnosis, deep meditation, altered state of consciousness. A ritual can be used to amplify the intent and visualization of telepathy servitor. You may want to take some time with this step as long as you make sure that your intent is represented accurately. Have and maintain intention for long enough to also transform it into your servitor, when then uploaded to transmit. ANTHROPOMORPHISIS. This intention, that's where the servant happens. At this point you will begin to apply the correspondences you prepared for the intention. Much of this will be with visualization, as it shapes the intent of telepathy on the servitor. Building the servitor. Construo servidor pod leva tempo, como ao adiciona e intensao, dando forma ao servidor e comunicando a comunicação como mesmo. Building the server can take time, such as adding to the intent, shaping the server and beginning communication with it. Perhaps a good idea is to set aside a certain moment each day, where you will sit with the servitor and feed it with messages. Prayers to a being that you consider to be supreme and sacred. You'll speak with him while you construct, carry on his representation. You will eventually notice that he starts talking back, moving or responding in some way. As you approach the chosen time, you can feel the specific energy of the server as it begins to wait for you. Do not be in a hurry in this part, and certainly do not be discouraged if it takes longer than you expect to begin to get a result.